Hello, I am Jim Brock, owner of BMT Consulting. Well, let me paint a picture. It's week 6 of your project. Two of your strongest engineers are refusing to sit in the same meeting. A senior stakeholder says their input has been ignored since day one. Your sponsor is calling for answers, and your project is behind schedule. Sound familiar? This isn't a project problem. This is a conflict problem. And how you respond in the next 24 hours will determine whether this project succeeds or collapses. Conflict is unavoidable in project environments. But according to the PMI mindset, it is not something to fear. In fact, well-managed conflict leads to better decisions, innovation, and stronger team performance. The key is understanding how conflict evolves and knowing how to respond at each level. Welcome to BMT Consulting's PMP Study Group series. Today, we're diving deep into the 5 levels of conflict and the exact PMBOK 8 tools a project manager must deploy at each level. This is the content that shows up on your PMP and PMI ACP exam, and even more importantly, on your real-world projects every single day. Let's get into it. Before we go into the levels, let's establish a foundational truth that the PMBOK Guide, 8th edition, makes clear. Conflict is a natural and unavoidable part of project work. The PMBOK 8 framework explores common sources of conflict, team dynamics, and practical resolution strategies, aligned to both predictive and agile environments. The key word there is natural. PMI does not treat conflict as a failure. It treats unmanaged conflict as a failure. So what's the difference between healthy and destructive conflict? Healthy conflict, level 1, looks like two engineers debating the best design approach for scalability. They disagree. They argue the merits. But they're focused on the work, not the person. That kind of tension actually improves your project. Conflict associated with tasks can be beneficial, and project managers should find a level of conflict that encourages creativity and innovation. Destructive conflict, think levels 4 and 5, is when it becomes personal. When people stop talking about the problem and start attacking each other, when sides are chosen. When your project's delivery is being held hostage by personalities. A critical skill project managers need to develop is diagnosing the difference. A critical skill project managers need to develop is diagnosing the difference between the healthy debate of options or ideas and damaging arguing. So how do you diagnose it? That's exactly what the 5 levels of conflict model gives you. Now let's break it down. The model we're using is the 5 levels of conflict framework developed by Speed Leas, a model recognized and applied throughout PMI literature and PMP exam content. One tool for diagnosing the severity of conflict is the 5 levels of conflict model developed by Speed Leas. It shows a progression from a simple problem to solve all the way to people or groups declaring war on one another. Listening to the language and phrases the team uses and comparing it to descriptions of the 5 levels can help determine the stage of a conflict. And think of it like a volcano. At the base, level 1, the ground is stable. At the top, level 5, it's erupting. And here's the critical insight. The higher the level, the harder and more costly it is to resolve. Your job as a project manager is to intervene early, before the volcano blows. Conflicts at levels 1 through 3 can often be managed within the project team, while levels 4-5 typically require escalation and external intervention. Let's discuss each level. Level 1 is where high-performing teams live. At this level, the conflict is about the work, not the person. When in level 1, the team aims to determine what's awry and how to fix it. Information is freely shared, and collaboration is alive. Team members use words that are clear, specific, and factual. The language is in the here and now. The team is not talking about the past. Team members check in with one another if they think that a miscommunication has just happened. You will probably notice that team members are optimistic, moving through the conflict. It's not comfortable, but it's not emotionally charged either. This is the level of constructive disagreement. What does it sound like? Something like, "Oh, I see what you're saying. I still prefer the other approach, but I understand your suggestion." That's level 1. It's professional. It's productive. And PMI says, don't kill it. PMI views this as healthy conflict that should be encouraged because it improves decision-making and encourages innovation. PM action at level 1. Facilitate, don't interrupt. Use collaborate, problem solve. Let the team work through it. Set up structured dialogue if needed. Focus on facts, not feelings. At level 2, the conflict starts shifting from the issue to the person. Self-protection is now entering the equation. At level 2, self-protection becomes as important as solving the problem. Team members distance themselves from one another to ensure they come out okay in the end, or to establish a position for a future compromise. They may talk offline with other team members to test out strategies or seek advice and support. You start to see people going quiet in meetings, Side conversations happening offline. People picking allies. The language gets slightly more guarded and less, here are the facts, and more, let me protect my position. A stakeholder feels their input is being ignored. A team member starts copying the sponsor on emails they normally wouldn't. This is where project value begins to degrade. At this level, emotional intelligence becomes critical. Listen more than you speak. PM action at level 2, step in early. Use smooth, accommodate, combined with active listening. Pull people aside individually. Acknowledge feelings before jumping to solutions. Say, I hear that you feel your input hasn't been valued. Tell me more. Rebuild psychological safety before anything else. Level 3 is where the conflict crosses a dangerous threshold. It's no longer about the problem. It's now about winning. A win-lose mentality has taken hold. You'll hear things like, we need to decide this way, period. The language becomes sharp, and people start recruiting others to their side. Positions harden. The shared goal of project success is getting eclipsed by the personal goal of being right. A team member refuses to attend meetings because of conflict with another member. This level is dangerous to team cohesion and productivity. This is where many PMs make their biggest mistake. They try to logic their way through an emotional conflict. It doesn't work. You cannot solve emotional conflict with logic alone. Address the human side first. PM action at level 3. Use compromise, reconcile. Bring both parties to the table with a clear facilitator role. That's you. Establish common ground. We both want this project to succeed. Then negotiate a middle path where both sides give something. Document the agreement. Follow up individually to confirm buy-in. Level 4 is serious. The conflict has become ideological. It's now about what's fundamentally right or wrong, not just what the best technical approach is. Sides have been drawn. People are no longer trying to solve the problem. They're trying to prove the other person is the problem. At level 4 in the crusade, the conflict becomes more ideological and divided. You hear things like, they're just plain stupid and it's not worth talking to them. Two key stakeholders are refusing to work together and it's now impacting delivery. Your team is splitting into factions. Normal project communication is breaking down completely. Two key stakeholders refuse to work together, impacting delivery. At this stage, conflict requires formal intervention. PM action at level 4, force direct combined with formal escalation. You must assert authority. This is not the time for endless dialogue. That window has closed. Issue clear directives. Establish non-negotiable ground rules. Escalate to the project sponsor or steering committee. Document everything. This is no longer just a team dynamics issue. This is a project governance issue. And here's a hard leadership truth. If it reaches level 4, earlier intervention opportunities were missed. Now, level 5 is the point of no return within a team dynamic. The conflict has gone to war. The goal is no longer to win a disagreement, it is to destroy the other side. The aim at level 5 is to destroy the others. It's not enough that one wins, others must lose. We must make sure this horrible situation does not happen again. The only option at level 5 is to separate the combatants so that they don't hurt one another. Level 5 in World War, the language is altogether combative, or the opposing people do not speak directly to each other, only talking to those on their side and saying things such as, it is us or them, and we've got to beat them. At level 5, there is no collaborative resolution possible within the existing team structure. Period. PM action at level 5, withdraw, meaning separate the parties immediately. This is not avoidance. This is strategic separation. Formal HR or executive intervention is required. Team restructuring may be necessary. Roles must be reassigned to eliminate direct interaction. Legal or HR protocols may apply. Your primary job at level 5 is damage control, protecting the project and the organization from further harm. The lesson here isn't how to manage level 5 conflict. It's why you must never let it get to level 5. Now let's go deep into the 5 conflict resolution tools the PMBOK Guide, 8th edition, gives you. These are aligned with what PMI calls the Thomas Kilmann conflict approaches, and they are absolutely testable on your PMP and PMI ACP exams. The guide identifies 5 ways to handle conflict: withdraw, smooth, compromise, force, or collaborate. While we always aim for the win-win of collaboration, the guide honestly acknowledges that force has its place in an emergency, and smoothing is vital when the long-term relationship matters more than winning a minor argument. Tool 1, withdraw, avoid. Withdraw, avoid means stepping back from the conflict, intentionally giving it space. This is not running away. It's a deliberate tactical pause. Retreating from the conflict, when an option, postpones the issue to allow for additional preparation or to allow input from others. Use it when emotions are too high for rational dialogue, when the conflict is minor and likely to self-resolve, or when you need more information before engaging. Caution. Do not use withdraw as your default. It is a delay, not a resolution. Tool 2, smooth accommodate. Smooth accommodate focuses on common ground rather than differences. This technique involves emphasizing areas of agreement rather than areas of difference. It requires conceding one's position to maintain harmony in relationships. Use it when relationships matter more than the issue at hand, when you need to buy time, or when the conflict is at level 2 and you need to de-escalate before a more substantive conversation. Caution. Smoothing alone can mask deeper issues that re-emerge later more intensely. Tool 3, compromise, reconcile. Compromise requires both parties to give up something to find middle ground. In this technique, both sides are asked to sacrifice part of their position to arrive at common ground. Use it when a quick resolution is needed, when collaboration isn't feasible, or at level 3 where positions have hardened, but the parties are still willing to negotiate. Caution. Compromise leaves no one fully satisfied. Use it when time is constrained or when a good enough solution serves the project better than a protracted battle. Tool 4, force and direct. Force direct is exactly what it sounds like. The project manager, or a person with authority, makes a unilateral decision and directs compliance. It involves no discussion or dialogue. In this, the person in power would impose what they think is the best way ahead, and everyone must follow to settle the conflict at hand. Use it when the conflict is at level 4, when the project is in immediate danger, when a decision must be made now, or when all collaborative approaches have been exhausted. Caution. Force creates compliance, not commitment. Use sparingly and then always with documentation and follow-up communication. Tool 5, and collaborate, problem solve. PMBOK 8 preferred. Collaborate, problem solve is the gold standard. The PMBOK 8 preferred approach for sustainable conflict resolution. Confronting problem solving involves an open discussion about conflict. The involved parties would treat the conflict as a problem that needs to be solved and would have an open dialogue to identify the root cause of the conflict and then work to eliminate it to resolve the conflict at hand. It can take quite some time for this technique to bear results, but the advantage is that the outcomes are agreeable to everyone. Use it when time allows, when the relationship between parties matters long-term, when the conflict involves complex multi-stakeholder issues, or when you need commitment, not just compliance. This is your go-to at level 1 and level 2. The outcome, a win-win. Both parties own the solution. This technique brings consensus, commitment, and shared responsibility for the outcome. It creates a win-win situation, builds your team's confidence, earns respect, and establishes your authority. Here's the integration that will make you a more effective project leader, and that will help you nail scenario-based questions on your PMP exam. Match the conflict level to the right PMBOK 8 tool. And here's the most important strategic principle. The PMBOK 8 does not prescribe a one-size-fits-all approach. It demands judgment. The PMI does not recommend using any specific technique for all conflicts. It all depends on the situation and the stakeholders involved. When selecting a conflict resolution strategy, consider the time availability. How urgent is resolution needed? Relationship importance. How critical are the relationships for future work? Issue complexity. How many factors and stakeholders are involved? Power dynamics. What authority levels exist between conflicting parties? Organizational culture. How does your organization typically handle conflicts? Assess the level. Apply the appropriate tool. Document the resolution. Follow up to confirm the conflict is truly resolved, not just suppressed. The best conflict resolution is conflict prevention. Before we close, I want to leave you with one more insight from PMBOK 8 that most PMs overlook. Prevention is always better than resolution. The best method to solve conflict is to prevent it in the first place. You cannot prevent all conflicts, but the following practices can help you reduce them. Establish ground rules. These can help discipline team members. Form an effective communication plan. This can help you avoid many conflicts. Define how much and how often you will communicate with your stakeholders. Form a better stakeholder management plan. Your project will be successful if your stakeholders are happy. And set your team ground rules in week 1. Establish your communications plan. Define escalation paths before they're needed. Conduct regular one-on-ones. And build a team environment where people feel psychologically safe to raise concerns before they become conflicts. Building a team environment that supports productive disagreement and prevents destructive conflict is one of the core outcomes of PMBOK 8-aligned conflict management. Remember, your project's biggest risk is not the schedule. It's not the budget. It's the people. And people-centered leadership, grounded in PMBOK 8 principles, is what separates good project managers from great ones. Lead the conflict. Don't let the conflict lead you. Here's your takeaway from today's session. There are 5 levels of conflict, from a green problem to solve all the way to a black world war. The PMBOK Guide. 8th edition gives you 5 resolution tools: withdraw, smooth, compromise, force, and collaborate. The key is knowing which tool to apply at which level and intervening early before the volcano erupts. Conflict is not the enemy. Mismanaged conflict is. The best project managers don't eliminate conflict. They leverage it for better outcomes. Whether you're sitting for your PMP, your PMIACP, your CAPM, or you're leading real projects right now, this is the framework that will make you a stronger, more confident, more effective leader. This is BMT Consulting, a disabled veteran-owned project management training and curriculum development company, building world-class project leaders. Visit bmtconsulting.net to join our PMP, PMIACP, or CAPM study groups. Share this video. Leave a comment. And as always, keep leading with excellence.